Hello everybody, Manithral here, and welcome to the weekly update video for OSRS. Now this week we have the full launch of Emir's Arena, so the dual arena essentially remastered. So the feedback, players feel the number of reward points given for games is too low. They hotfixed the arena to give players all their reward points at once rather than the initial plan of half now, half as a bonus at the end of the week. Players thought that the arena's full launch would start with the max med bracket, and the roto would begin from there. So the initially launched was Zerk as the chosen style for a week, but elected to move back to the max/med to let people start the rotation fresh and give time to address potential balancing concerns within the Zerk bracket. So Emir's Arena, I mean, we went over this pretty extensively last week. The dual arena is officially back open, and it is here. There has been some changes. We will get into that right now. So PvP Arena this week's changes. Players will no longer be able to see items that they are unable to equip within the loadout interface. For example, players configuring their pure loadout won't be able to see their gear choices with defense requirements during the setup. This change should help people find what they're looking for a little bit faster. The Grazi Rapier and the Inquisitor's Mace have been removed from the loadout interface for the time being due to their 80 attack requirement. A number of items missing from the soft launch have been added, such as the Xerxian hat, robe, top, rune gloves, Zyrite crossbow, and amulet of blood fury. The following items have been removed from loadouts since they were deemed too powerful and a must-have in almost all situations: Ancient God Sword, Ring of Suffering Eye, and Purple Sweets. For the another thing is the timer before the tournament starts has been reduced from 8 minutes to 30 seconds to 5 minutes. Furthermore, the tournament will now automatically begin if no new players have entered the staging area for over 72 seconds. Players will now receive reminders in their chat box to indicate that their fight is ready while staging an area, so they're hopeful that in conjunction with reduced tournament timer, this change should help you spend less time waiting around and more time bashing skulls. The info button that players can use to check brackets in a tournament is now hidden during combat. While it's great to see combatants taking an interest to see how the tournament is going, this change should ensure you're only checking the bracket between fights and not while your opponent is launching their special attack. So they also reduced the size of the timer during fights since some players felt it was obstructive, especially while playing in fixed mode. Added a chat box message to remind players that they won't gain rank or reward points for participating in unranked fights. The health bar visible to spectators via the telescopes around the arena have been adjusted slightly to improve the viewing experience. They now have a secondary layer that drains after a short delay, like your typical fighting game. Pures are no longer able to use the Heavy Ballista or Ava's Assembler inside the PvP arena. Zerks are no longer able to use Elite Void inside the PvP arena as well. So, this week update also sees the inclusion of players' PvP arena rank and high scores, so their ranks are now available. Players will have to log in and out of a standard game worlds in order to update their rank on the high scores. So as you know, if you're playing, you do a whole bunch of stuff, you got to log out, and then it can update the high scores with your rank. It's noteworthy noting that any developers making use of the high scores API will need to update their scripts following today, as pretty obvious. And remember, now that the PvP arena is officially open for business, players' rank and reward points from the soft launch are reset. And on the flip side, the Emir's finest merchants are done counting their stock, and as of today, you'll be able to spend your hard-earned reward points to imbue scrolls, blighted sacks, and the reward shop at the arena entrance. And a couple things they hear is the Blighted Wave Sack times 75, Blighted Surge Sack times 50, and Scroll of Imbuing. That's the only three things it shows, sadly. But lastly, they like to reiterate some points they've spoken about the week's Q&A for anyone who has missed it. Do check that out. But this week's live stream has moved from Monday, the 18th of July, at 1700 BST. So they'll be joined by PvP creators for another round of table live stream to discuss various topics within the PvP community. So next week's Thursday slot should go ahead as normal. Feedback points and future changes. So here's what they're going to be able to do in the near future. First off, a lot of them expressed frustration with the Arena Spellbook, which contains all of the combat spells. A lot of you high-level players, especially those who perform switch with items at the top of their inventory, make use of the spellbook filtering to reduce their mouse movement in-game and have those movements embedded in their muscle memory. So, they're working on a change to allow players to control exactly which runes their rune pouch contains and to display which spells are enabled so that the players can get back into focus into the game instead of unlearning years of practice and having to relearn an entire thing. So feedback also indicated that we want a copy of your opponent's loadout or save various presets within the same combat bracket. Multiple presets are a bit far out of reach for now. They are working on a copy option which will allow you to quickly copy your opponent's gear when you want a mirror matchup. So they hope they can put this in the hands of the players within the next couple weeks. They see a number of requests to remove certain items or cap the permitted quantity of supplies, namely food, from each equipment chest for being too powerful. So you notice they already removed the Ancient Godsword and Ring of Suffering Eye, and they're open to further suggestions. However, doesn't necessarily mean it will be removed, but they are open to suggestions. The Bow of Artinian is another item they're keeping an eye on, although they hope the inclusion of the desired crossbow this week will help balance that out a bit. Many of us have expressed concern of the No Honor NH is the prevalent combat style in the arena. NH is one of the toughest PvP styles to get grips with, and many have asked for greater support for the more beginner/friendly options. So, while lots have been organizing unranked duels and tournament using simpler setups such as edge-style PvP, it's rare to see these ranked play and therefore harder for players to queue up for. So this is one thing I mentioned before. Unranked is going to be the highest because this essentially allows people to do what they were doing before, which is defeats the whole purpose of remodeling this anyway. We may be able to offer them in a different way, such as by changing builds in the weekly build rota. So there is Explore Seasonal Ladders, which run for a limited period of time and focus on the unrestricted builds. They think this would encourage more beginner-friendly setups, so keep that in mind. They're aware while steel rank players are able to find fights quickly, players in Manithral or Iron rank are having a lengthier time. Obviously, the more common of a rank, it's just going to happen. But they are looking to find suitable opponents and suitable options for people. Speaking of updates, they rest assured that if you're forming you of any further changes that they make, so anything they want to change, they will be informing people. So do check that out in the usual channels such as Discord, Twitter, the forums themselves, etc., etc. Other changes beyond the PvP arena. The flower traders have left Miss Island to search for new flowers elsewhere. Gilbert remains as a flower meadow and has managed to acquire some more rare colorful seeds, so right click your flower crown and select change to see what colors he found. And for those who are unsure what that means, they do more than just the regular pride now. They do for each individual, they do for individual groups within it that actually have some. I think they only capped it at 9 so far, but if enough people want, they probably would add more. GIM players creating a new group should no longer receive errors regarding mismatching settings. Kovacs has been upgrading his financial infrastructure, and his reward shop is now protected by a bank pin. The Magic Skill Guide has been updated to show the collect rune costs for the enchanting red topaz bolts. The hardcore group Ironman helm now properly matches the player's skin tone on the male character models. Thralls now have Pathfind around obstacles. The only obstacle remaining now is you remembering to summon them. The Guardians of the Rift music track has its button back to text corrected in the jukebox menu. They're ecstatic to have this fixed, a potentially game-breaking bug, and apologize for the inconvenience. Kovacs sends you to the reward, sends your reward to the bank. It can now take the slot of a coin placeholder if your bank contains one. An archway in the Abyssal Demons section of the Catacombs of Corinth has been removed as it was visually obstructive. The upstairs ore veins in the Motherlode mine no longer need to be completely depleted to start the respawn timer. A master clear near the Mage Training Arena has been moved out of the new pillars there. And PvP World Rota has moved to Period B, so 560 UK PvP, 579 US High Risk PvP, 561 UK Free to Play PvP, 580 US LMS Competitive, and World 390 a US LMS Competitive has been deactivated for this Rota. So there was the Giants Foundry Design a Weapon competition, and we have the Giants Kite Axe is one of them. And that was the first place prize, and so that is the Giants Kite Axe by Femboy Ruby. And then we have second place, which is the Great Iron Club, which is basically this gigantic two-handed iron club. And this is by Ninth Cloud, which actually does look pretty cool. And we have the Igneous Club, which is fire giant themed. So, this is by Hernasopa. And then you have the Anvil Flail, which I actually rather like this one. Anvil Flail by Josuke Uhuraka. Sorry if I butchered that. Very cool name, though. But that is it for this week, guys. So thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, later, guys.